What are you doing?
Issuing a challenge.
Oh my god, I can't anymore. I just can't.
Hello everyone, I'm Steve, Mark's around. Say hi, Mark.
Hey everybody!
And this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark. Either welcome or welcome back, and happy Saturday. It is the weekend, so we knew what that means. I had to grind the damn beans. 8 o'clock coffee, Splenda, and I want to say almond milk, because it's lower calorie, but less good. So I hope everybody is well. I hope everyone's safe. Look after yourselves, look after each other in these increasingly weird times in which we live. So we're going to talk today about our fair lady, Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, The Daily Chantal, The Chantal Show, Chantopolis, and of course Foodie Beauty again. So, another full week. That's
for sure.
Full of what? We'll see. So, there was a few bullet points I think we're going to cover this week. There was a lot that went on. Unfortunately, it's a lot of the same. With a few characters rearranged, but there's not too much new to go on. But we're going to go through a few bullet points. Now, last week we talked a lot about addiction, specifically substance use disorders. We talked about the idea of noise, how all these side dramas that are going on in her life are kind of taking away from the fact that she has a near crippling addiction going on underneath all of it. The idea about boundaries and detaching. If I'm in Chantal's life, if I'm Pete's, if I'm Mom, if I'm whoever, what can I do to care about Chantal, but save my sanity at the same time? You know, and to send a message to her like, your behavior's not cool, and even though I love you, I'm going to stay the fuck away from you until you get your shit together. And then also, what would be left to do? What could intervene in Chantal's life to maybe give her a heads up that some things aren't going well and they need to change and there will be consequences. Mark was here to talk about interventions as a possible thing that could help out. Mark will be joining us later to talk a little bit about advocacy, addict shaming. Addict shaming is something... Shaming is a big popular topic with Chantal, period. But addict shaming is a new thing that has come up. Anything to quell responsibility for our actions, and shaming is one of those things that she does, and addict shaming seems to be a little bit new on the horizon. I've heard it a few times, but as someone who deals with a substance use disorder, I take exception to certain things that were said, so we'll talk about it. So, going into this week, the few bullet points are, she mentioned she wanted to focus on herself. Now, one could argue she did absolutely nothing close to that this week, but we'll weigh on it. There was the collab that she did with Negs and Gaining Ground. There were some expectations around it. There were some doubts I had that it would happen at all. I'm surprised it did, but it did. And then what went on and kind of the after opinions of what was going on. So talk about that a little bit. And then her rage, because she was raging a little bit, specifically towards French Fry Girl, who she's been continuing to kind of go back and forth with. French Fry Girl and her, as we had said before, last week, she's a reactor who is in a similar circle of people that Chantal is, and they had shared a phone conversation regarding some facts that went back and forth, some things that may be true, not true. French Fry Girl and Chantal had spoken. Well, Chantal, I guess, had said some information on her channel that was private, part of that conversation, and she shared it. So then French Fry Girl felt compelled to share information as well. So she released a video to... A lot of videos for one phone conversation, but she's been releasing those as well. So now Chantal has a new hard-on for another reactor. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, I have a couple sidebars about the Nashies, the Nashi chicken sandwiches, which is just a little, I mean, she's cleaning out the adjacent provinces at this point. So focusing on herself. That sounds like a radical shift in priorities, because doesn't Chantal only focus on herself anyway? That's an argument that could be made. When she's talking about herself, it jumped initially to, she had this announcement. She was going to make an announcement, because if you've seen her community board, it's like a lot of caps, a lot of screaming, at least it was last week, about big, exciting new things, big new announcement, blah, blah, blah. So focusing on herself in this one was that I think it was like a career type move. So she was talking to her audience, and they were, of course, talking back, and she's decided to do that she's interested in doing OnlyFans again. Now, okay, last time she did OnlyFans, which I purchased a subscription. It was $10 because in the interest of being a creator, now this was a while ago. My thoughts on exchanging money with Chantal have changed since then. She wasn't quite in the situation she is now. But in the interest of being a creator or reviewer who reviews Chantal, I felt it was necessary to have access to all the information. There was nothing to get. There was a few pictures and that was it. And her attitude at the time was, I never promised you that much. You got a few pictures, I'm keeping your money. And then it went to her trying to refund everybody who wanted a refund. We just let it go. But the idea that she was sitting in the stream doing this, in a members only stream, where people are already paying to be present for that, and to introduce to them that she wants to do another paid site with content that she's already promised on her current channel to do. Videos, vlogs, all this other stuff. Now, people are already, at this point, paying on YouTube to hopefully see these kind of things, and they're not. So now we're going to put the goalpost out further and say, for another $10, maybe you can see it there, too. That's shifty. I think that's really shifty. What basically the whole live stream announcement was, I need more money. So here's another platform where you can pay me and get your hopes dashed. And she said the first month free. But then I think it kind of depend on people to not update their credit card information and then just it rolls over again. I don't know. Just another revenue stream. Now, a fan had commented during the live, and I went back and rewound this a few times because it pretty much gave the perspective of, I think, a lot of her viewers, because this was a members only stream and people were kind of like, you clickbaited us with some dumb announcement and this ain't shit. So what the fan had said was, quote, you keep promising member uploads. We pay and all we get are lives on a dirty llama. With you yelling at us to stop our membership if we don't like it. Now you want more? Hell no. So I think that pretty well summed it up. I understand she wants to get that money. I mean, that makes sense. But how can people expect anything for their money because we've been down the line of OnlyFans before? I mean, we've done this. This is not news. None of this is news. This was already attempted and collapsed. I mean, it's hard enough for her to make any content for one channel. We're going to go for two? I don't know. So yeah. And it was clickbaity. And by the way, she was a little hyper. We'll go with hyper. Because I don't want to point too many fingers, but she was quite hyper while she was explaining a lot of this as well. She was at least on some edibles, at the very least. And I'll talk a little bit later about, not a lot later, soon, about that. So, I can't believe she's surprised people would be critical. She seemed genuinely surprised that people would be like, no, we don't want to pay more. We're barely getting anything for what we pay now. And she's like, really? I mean, would she pay for a membership for a site where she got next to nothing? I mean, people are getting less than they were before. Like, less for their $5, I think. A bunch of stoned out lives. I think they're tolerating it because they like her and they remember another version of Chantal. And now they're just trying to, hang out with her and keep her company. I mean, when you look at the thumbs up, thumbs down ratio, the moderated comments, things like that. So, I don't know. So my hope would be that she would be working on herself and some self-awareness, because the fact that she seems dumbfounded by people's reactions to some of the decisions she makes floors me. The fact that she would seem, and some of it's playing dumb because she's just Chantal when she, can read a room sometimes and will play dumb just to troll people. But I can't believe it. I don't know. I will not buy a membership to this one. I will say that because I'm not paying Dom's rent. So, anyway. So next. So she did a collaboration with Negs and with Gaining Ground. Now, this was announced also at the same time. Now, as far as the cast of characters that were going into this live, I did very preliminary research. Okay, why didn't I go deep? Because there was a lot. It was pretty deep. Now, Negs from the the groundwork that I had done was not entirely popular from the people that I went and looked at reactions to and things that I had read and stuff like that. So he wasn't a popular person from what I had found. I said last week, though, I mean, you hear all sorts of things about all of us, so what the hell do you trust? But that was what was in the, out in the Zephyr. And then Gaining Ground, I remember when he had started, he was on the nicer end of things. And then there was some blowback he had with, what do they call them? Is it Hater Nation? I don't know. It was a few folks all together who came after him, and then there was like some doxing, and then there was some other stuff going on, and he kind of like disappeared for a while, and now he's back. And I know that he had previously contacted Chantal, and she had not given her blessing for his channel, but had mentioned she thought it was like okay and likable. So going into this panel that they were going to do, I didn't think she was going to get like hit by the firing squad. I don't think Chantal was dumb enough to walk into a situation where she's going to get ripped to shreds. And I didn't think Negs would, and I didn't think Gaining Ground would go in at her hard. There was this sort of the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing going on. I think they all have similar people they don't like, and it kind of put it all in perspective, put them all together. I don't know if I don't want to point fingers at each one of them and say, you associated with this person who supports this, which means you support this, which means they support that, which means you all support this, which means you're all assholes, and, Again, you hear things from people, you see videos, you hear comments made by one person and they associate with another. I'm not a hater type person. I don't go down the chain of command and retweet everybody and say, give you a list of everyone you're supposed to hate this week. I don't know. But the live was reported to be boring by a lot of people who had watched it, because there was no big drama. There wasn't a whole lot going on. There wasn't a whole lot to say. I don't know. Chantal by the end, and this stuck out to me, and I wasn't too thrilled, actually, about it. She was beezing. She was high. She was abusing substances while she was on camera. And when I say abuse, I mean you could have taken her appendix out and she looked like she wouldn't have even noticed. By the end of the stream, she was quite high. Now, being on a panel, I mean, she does that all the time on live streams and everything, but being on a panel and interacting with other people, edibles and other things for her are a bit of like truth serum, but also she's a little, dumb and talks out of the side of her mouth and can say stupid things. And being in a conversation with two other people who maybe she knows a little but not too well, who maybe have their own motives, maybe don't, and having her there. I mean, on YouTube, it always seems like everyone has their own motive and then maybe a secondary motive. So maybe they want to talk, but they had their own agenda in mind. She wasn't equipped by the end of that live, I think, to really communicate in any reasonable way. Now, at the same time, it is not the job of Negs or Gaining Ground to cut that shit short. It's her responsibility to be in good shape when it's going on. And if she does feel like she's not in a place to talk, to cut it short herself. So there's nothing seedy going on with that whole thing. I don't think Negs and Gaining Ground were taking advantage of her. I don't think they should have cut it short because she was too high. But I do think she was too high to probably be there, and she should have managed it herself a little bit better, just to say. But there was nothing really great or grand that came out of that whole thing. It just seemed like relaxing, talking, shit. You know what I mean? Like it was like that. So nothing too grand. Nothing too grand. Now, Miss French Fry Girl. Okay. Now, to put things in perspective, I don't know who French Fry Girl is. I watched her channel in relation to Chantal. Now, going back to the initial interchanges they had, because they know some folks in the same circle, so they, again, had exchanged a phone call, it shared some information, allegedly that was supposed to be kept private, and then it all became public. So Chantal is going after French Fry Girl now in streams, in lives, and stuff like that, the way she used to go after Charlie Gold. I'm trying to think who it was before Charlie Gold. Maybe YouTube Underground. Maybe that too. A couple other people. It's like the flavor of the week. There's somebody on her radar at any given time who she thinks is, well, she usually says jealous. And then she has a couple other things she usually says. They can't stand to see me happy. Are they jealous of my man? All these things that are like obviously not true. So it's just another, like I said last week, it's just another sidebar. It's just another distraction. But Chantal accused French Fry Girl of twisting the truth. Now, that's not the same as lying, mind you. And when we're talking about twisting the truth, I would love to know even the twisted truth of Dom attempting to steal or stealing shoes from Walmart for $15. I would love to know the reality of that. It's none of my business at all. I don't want to really make it my business, but I'm dying to know. The gossiper in me wants to go, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I just want to know, because that seems so... Like, I wonder what the story would be. Like, what would the excuse be for something like that? Like, he was trying them on and then put his old shoes back in the box and then tried to walk out with them and it was a mistake. That's no mistake. I know people who do that. So, Chantal will say a number of times, and she's said this about anybody, I'm not bringing it up again. I'm not bringing her up again. Not on my channel. That means next to nothing. That means absolutely nothing when it comes to Chantal. She will bring it up again. She brought it up again a couple days later. Because it gets stuck. She gets stuck. And she gets pissed about people who come into her live. Members. I mean, open chat is a free-for-all for her. But also, when it goes into the members-only chat, there's people in the members-only chat. They were getting blasted. During one of her rage videos, where she was going on about... was it 24 people? One after another, back to back to back members, you know, and they're 5, 10, 15, 20. She just blocked $100 worth of memberships that, you know, they're not going to be playing on her channel, but their money is going to be in her wallet. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from today. So she's not going to bring it up again. Lasts as long as it takes to boil an egg. So during these ongoing rage chats, she's having back and forth with viewers, okay? And Chantal gets a little persnickety. I used that word last week. I like it. It's kind of a nice way of saying bitch. She gets a little, like, back and forth. She'll say, what? I'm not supposed to be happy? I'm not supposed to have people care about me? All the, like, emotional gaslighting. If she's confronted, she calls it emotional blackmail. If you mention her substance use, she calls it addict shaming. A thing that popped up was that while she was arguing with a couple people in one of her rage chats, there was one person in the chat who was, I guess, supportive and then not supportive, and maybe supportive and not supportive. And Chantal asked if they were bipolar. Well, dear, let's talk about illness shaming and mental health shaming and how that's not cool. Okay, I happen to have bipolar disorder. It's a chronic relapsing condition with genetic components and also deals with the environment. It is highly treatable, and it is not a slur you throw at someone who doesn't like you. Okay? That's not how that works. Let's talk about how shaming actually works. It's not just something we say to people to dodge responsibility for our actions. Words have power. And if we think ours are okay, but nobody else's are, that's a good working definition of selfishness. You know, so just putting that out there. Doesn't make someone a bad person, but these behaviors all come together. All these behaviors come together. And like I said, when she's not well, I mean, even when she is well, she's not a walk in the park because her personality is just not for everybody. I get it. But when she's not well, she is unwell in the most obnoxious way possible. I mean, it is so obnoxious. Some people are like sheepish, like if they're into substance use and maybe their mental health isn't 100%. They're sheepish, they avoid people. They're a little more morose, they disappear off site, they're sad a lot, something like that. Her poor mental health and substance use and her behaviors and her language around it, it manifests in the most obnoxious way. And like I said last week, it's really hard to care what happens to her. It's really hard to care if she's going to turn out okay at the end of this because she becomes so unlikable and so confrontational that on the far end of the spectrum, there probably are haters that just want to see something bad happen to her. There's another channel I used to follow. Some of you guys probably know the channel I mean. And the creator on that channel, there was 2, and then now there's 1. There's a lot of people who dislike that person. And actually, for the sake of wanting to believe karma exists, want to see something bad happen to the person. Because it reifies for them that when you do bad, it comes back to you. And when you do good, it comes back to you. So it's more than just vengeance. It's kind of reiterating that this is how the world works. If you do good, good things happen. If you do bad, it comes back to you. I think people kind of hang on not just to see the end of a situation like that, or maybe like this, but also it reaffirms that, at least in my belief, this is how the world works. If you do good, good things will come to you. There'll be challenges like everybody else. But if you do bad or treat people poorly, that comes back to you as well. Not just in real time, but over time. So, there you go. Now, okay, bragging about the THC use. Okay, the bragging about it. Maybe I'll open my own store and call it Beauty Bites. Maybe I'll try this. I took 500 milligrams of X, Y, or Z. Okay. Now, it is legal. Okay. That means nothing. My drug of choice was legal. In case I haven't mentioned, and not to put too fine a point on it, I was a raging alcoholic. Okay. I would not have been in a position to be in a relationship with Mark at the time. There's not a big market for 300-pound bulimic chain-smoking alcoholics, if you can imagine. There was not a long line to get to me. So when she's talking about this is legal and it's no big deal, because at least she's not doing cocaine. Well, good. She's not doing a lot of other stuff. She's not banging dope, so it's okay that she's high all day. For instance, okay, let's say I was doing coke for 2 months. Obviously not good. I have a history of addiction. This is very not good. So let's say I stop and I settle on drinking. Okay, and at any given hour of the day, I would go live with anywhere from 2 to 10 drinks in me. Okay, now it's legal and it's my life and I'm not hurting anybody, right? So why should I stop? What am I doing? Now, concerned people will say something, because even though the drug I'm doing is legal and I'm of age and it's okay, I'm sitting there essentially alone. I mean, I'm talking to a camera, I'm talking to a live, but I mean, in the new age, am I really alone? The bottom line, though, is that I'm sitting here by myself talking to a phone, and I would be drinking to do it. It would be one thing for me to say it's nobody's business if they were peeking in my windows or tracing my calls or anything. But when I'm on my YouTube account and I hit go live or I hit record and I put a video up of myself in an altered state, I invite people to comment on it. I do, you know. And I can't have it both ways with saying, you know, don't talk about my substance use and then show up somewhere highly intoxicated and say, you know, well, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Like I said, if I showed up drunk every day, people would notice. Well-meaning people would try to intervene, and then I would start the process that she's going through. Tell well-meaning people to screw off. Tell you guys Mark's overreacting. Mark would stop being in videos. He'd pull a Pete's and he wouldn't be around. He'd be missing all the time. He wouldn't be here. I would lie to you guys and say that he was going through some stuff, and that's why he wasn't sleeping here. And then all the game playing starts. Oh, the relationship's not working out. You know, he's just not a nice guy. How nice of a guy would I meet if I was at 0.25 of a BAC all day? You don't meet nice people when you're walking around high and drunk all day. So, like I said, well-meaning people will try to intervene, but she's very combative. So she's not going to be open to people saying anything to her. She's just not. She's not. And she gets very, very volatile. Very, very, very volatile. But, again, back to what I said. If people are peeking in my windows and going through my trash, that's one thing. But if I choose to put my business on YouTube, anything I choose to put on the channel, of my own channel, I'm accountable for it. I have to be. I can't say I didn't say that. I can't say you didn't see it. I can't say I wasn't, you know, super hyper. We'll just say hyper. Or, you know, totally zoned out on edibles. You know, there's no accountability for it to anybody. But when she comes into the chat and people are like, you know, can we do something else other than just get high today? And she can say no, and they can leave, or they can get mad. And she pretty much said in the chat, I have more members now, so it really doesn't matter. So her being, you know, her chat members being dispensable, like they're disposable rather. Don't need you, don't want you, doesn't matter. It's just a number. It's just whatever. You know, that's revealing. It's revealing. It reveals something most people, I'm sure, already assumed was there about Chantal. But it's more revealing about the business side of things. Like, I'll get on here and do what I want, and as long as I'm making money, I don't give a rat's ass what the content is. You know, and if I need more money, I'll start another platform and go on there and do the same thing on this one. So, at any rate, if any of, you know, the business I put up there, any of the business is risque or taboo or toes the line of any of the 7 deadly sins, gluttony, envy, lust, greed, anger, pride, sloth, any of those, you put it on camera, people are going to have something to say about it. Now, again, I think if YouTube ran the way Chantal wanted it to run, you'd post videos, there would be no comment section at all. There would be no thumbs up, thumbs down, and it would just be where to put your videos up and AdSense, where the money comes in. And it would just be that. There would be no feedback because I don't think she wants any. Not that I think she cares too much about the feedback she gets, but I don't think she wants any. It's just put up the video, pay me my money, and that'll be it. And yeah, it's her job, but it's a people type job because, you know, people watch. She's not getting, as far as I know, supported by sponsors, so her revenue comes in from her members and the people who watch. You know, you would hope that she would sort of meet them halfway with giving them what they want as far as content. It's still been promises of videos. It's been nothing. It's been nothing. And then the only thing it has been is Beeson, drug abuse, or talking about French Fry Girl and how upset she is about it. There's really been nothing else going on. So, I don't know. Now, on to one lighter thing, and then we'll go and we'll bring Mark in. The Nashies. Nashies to ashies, dust to dust. She went to a Burger King and couldn't find them. Oh my God. She had a fit. She had an absolute fit. Such a fit that she ordered 2 other sandwiches, chicken, sourdough club, no bacon, I believe, and then got to the window where she was supposed to pay and said, "Excuse me, sorry," and drove off. Didn't pay, didn't really cancel, just left. Her excuse in the registry, Burger King's rich, they can afford it.
Oh my God. You know what?
That's what shoplifters say. That's what shoplifters say. Walmart's big, they can afford to lose $15 shoes. You know, that's what people who take stuff say. I'm not just saying, just an example. I'm not saying anybody stole anything. You know, theft of services isn't really stealing. If she took the food and drove off without paying, that would be very different. This was just scummy. It wasn't illegal, I don't think. So they were running out. So she drove to like 2 towns over to go get some more. And she knew where all the Burger Kings were in, you know, she went, there's one here, there's one on that road, there's one on Montreal Road, there's one in Gatineau, there's one in... She was like Uber Eats herself. Like, you could just text Chantal and she'll know all the names and the numbers of the places and she could just call and order it for you. If she chased her goals as hard as she chased these chicken sandwiches, what a different life it could be. You know,
Thank you.
if she left the house, I mean, it's the only reason she puts on makeup to go out is to get chicken sandwiches and sex. There's really, I mean, not too much else. She did get dressed to go, I believe, see her grandmother, or had planned to go see her grandmother, but she wasn't able to go. So, and the reason for that being, according to Chantal, was that her grandmother was not in palliative care, which is good. But because she wasn't, she can only have X number of visitors coming in. Chantal had also not had her second shot, and I'm sure there was other things she'd rather do that day. But I would love to take her at her word and say some things are above lying about, but I don't know. Maybe she did lie about it too. So, the Nashies. They're a reason to leave the house. If she needed to get her second COVID shot to go get a Nashi, she would have had it months ago. Months ago, she would have went. If they asked for proof of that when she pulled up to Burger King, oh my God, she either would have got a black market one or she would have went and got her shot. Because when things are important to her, she'll put some effort in. You know, when she thinks something is important, she'll go after it. Other things just aren't a priority. She's not frozen in fear. She's not afraid of failure. She just doesn't want to put on a face and makeup and go outside. Not that she even has to put on makeup, actually, though she does look lovely in makeup. I always thought she was a very pretty girl. Woman. She's 2 years younger than me, for God's sake. But she doesn't, like, go face the world for anything else other than food, maybe a doctor's appointment here and there, and for sex. Or dom, or whatever, you know. So, I don't know. I can't believe she drove off from the drive-thru. I mean, I've done grimy stuff back in the day when I was partying and stuff like that. Usually it wasn't me driving, because I didn't start behaving really irresponsibly about that till my late 20s. So in college, I'd be in the car. I'd be passed out in the McDonald's drive-thru, completely passed out in the McDonald's drive-thru. I'd be throwing food at me. They're like, Steven, you ordered this. I'm like, what? You know, I was usually drunk the next morning when I would get up. It was bad. It was bad. But we live and learn. We live and learn. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, like I said, guys, it was a busy week. I'm just hitting a few points here. Shaming. Now, everything is shaming to her. And now that she is involved in the use of substances, and people believe that, well, they know that Dom is as well, we found something else that we shouldn't be shamed over. Addict shaming. So we shouldn't be talking about her use or his use of substances because that is shaming them. Mark!
Yeah?
Can you come here, please?
Yeah?
I want to hear your thoughts about addict shaming. I need a little input from someone who knows more than me about this. You guys know Mark. You remember him.
Hey, everybody!
Hello, hello.
I'm out in the garden today.
So, we were talking about,
Yes.
well, Chantal,
Yes.
you know, which covers, her life it's a very rich tapestry of disgust.
This is true.
And we were talking about shaming, as she likes to call most things shaming.
That's the newest
if
thing.
confronted. And she mentioned the idea of addict shaming.
Yeah.
Either in reference to herself or her betrothed or Dom or whoever he is, that it's not okay to use those derogatory names, to try to make them feel bad about their use, it's an illness, whatever.
Yeah.
Now,
well, she's she's right about that. I mean, it's not cool to. I don't support shaming anybody or anything. And addicts, of course.
it's a little close to my
is
heart.
one of them. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But
Don't shame me.
to have her advocate for this cause, we'll call it.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Thank you for your thoughts, but
No. I
we'll get this till you get yourself
I don't
together.
really care to have her advocating for me. What it is that by her saying this, it's deflection. Of course, it's gaining what she thinks is gaining her more sympathy.
Yeah.
No, she's being shamed for being an addict, so that's what she's gaining from that.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just not cool. Like, there's a difference in what she's doing and what true what do we say, advocating for addicts. There's a big difference.
Yeah, there is a very big difference.
The example of me going in for a job interview and them saying, oh, you can't hire Mark, he's an addict,
Yeah.
And me showing up for an interview totally stoned and high, and
them saying, we can't hire you, you're high.
Exactly.
And you saying, they're addict shaming me.
Exactly.
Because I showed up high and they didn't treat me like a human being.
Right, exactly, which is what she's doing.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, it's just another smokescreen, it's just another diversion, it's just another way to kind of justify her behaviors and gain sympathy from other people, to kind of cover up what's really going on with her, that's, my opinion.
And you had mentioned also that because she's kind of plateaued at a certain point,
She has.
it's giving her a false sense of security.
Oh, absolutely. Where she's at in her addiction right now, and addiction, substance use disorder has a what do you call it? Like a course, like other things do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like other illnesses.
Like a journey, a course, or whatever. And right now, where she's at in her addiction is that she's kind of coasting. She's kind of sort of plateaued in a way. She hasn't had any major consequences yet. I mean, her life is a wreck. I mean, she's lost money, she's lost relationships, she's in an abusive, unhealthy relationship with her drug dealer. Let's just say it for what it is, okay? And of course, these are all consequences, and these all fall into her life being unmanageable, okay? But as far as major consequences that would lead to like rock bottomness or, wrecking her car, ODing, things like that, she hasn't had any of those yet. So she's coasting, she's managing her life right now. the way she's living it and doing the things she's doing.
Yeah.
So that also empowers the person with a substance use disorder. It empowers them. See, I'm managing, I'm doing everything. I can do this and keep everything, because she hasn't had any consequences yet, major ones.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is take a look at her life, like we all are doing.
Yeah.
And see where she's at. Go back 6 months and see where she was and see her now. See her behaviors and her attitude and the way she looks and the way she talks to her viewers and, you know, and all of these things. Her relationship with Pete. Okay. You know, she has all these I hate this phrase, but delusions of grandeur, we'll just say that. You know, she's gonna get a townhouse that's, you know, $2,000 a month, and she's gonna start making these high quality filmed videos and all this
Open
stuff.
up a shop called Foodie Bites.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
go to Jamaica and Eurobees.
You know, all these like, ideas. Oh, she's gonna start a new OnlyFans and all this stuff, you know, is... None of this is going to happen, okay, because she's not in a place in her life, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, ready to do any
everything
of
is going to get
things.
started tomorrow.
And then
the
it's
next
going
day
to be
is
started,
tomorrow.
then dropped, and then it's like the old OnlyFans, you know,
Yeah.
like that was...
We got
a
like, what,
complete
3
waste,
videos
you know?
and then nothing?
I know. So anyway, that's my opinion. That's where she's at right now in her addiction journey or in her addiction course. It's not going to last long. Again, it's kind of a typical, you know, it's not unique to her. This happens to a lot of folks struggling with addiction.
Yeah.
In their journey. They reach a point, and that time can be, you know, a week. It can be 6 months. It's a period of time where they're able to juggle everything, continue their substance use, and continue to manage their lives. I guarantee you, if she had a full-time job, a full-time healthy relationship, owned a house, all this, she would not have any of that at this point in her in this point in her journey. She wouldn't.
No.
But the way her life is set up right now, YouTube is her job, and so there's a lot of leeway.
Yeah, she has a lot of room. She's her own.
Yes,
she's her own boss, and the only thing she's accountable to is terms of service.
In my opinion, that's on the line too. There's only so long that this can continue before she gets struck for terms of service. I think somebody had mentioned in I don't watch all the videos, honestly. I don't. I just can't.
He can. It makes him sick.
But I did see that someone had mentioned in a comment once on one of her live streams where she was going off on all of her people.
Yeah.
That one. And they said something about shadow blocking.
Shadow banned or whatever.
Shadow banned, shadow blocking, whatever that is, and you're going to get shadow banned by YouTube. And she fluffed it off and said, "Oh, that's just a myth. You know, that doesn't even exist. You don't even know what you're talking about. You know, are you would you call him a moron or something? I don't know. She, you know, whatever.
She was having a good time.
It is a real thing. It is. You can look it up. You can absolutely look it up. And a shadow ban is basically one of the first steps YouTube takes as kind of slap on the wrist, so to speak, or whatever. It's a little, I don't know. It's a little consequence for your actions on YouTube, and you know, it limits viewers from seeing your content. Like you'll go search her, and like one video will come up, and it'll be like 3rd, 4th, 5th in, you know, or whatever, instead of bam, Foodie Beauty and all of her stuff. Yeah. It's like that. Her videos will be limited, you know. It's a real thing, and it does happen. It just happened to one of their top YouTube creators. And if they can do that to him, they'll do that to anybody, you know. It is a real thing. It is not a farce. It is not a fake thing. It's real, and it can happen. And it can happen to her.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. I talked too long again. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for your perspective, Mark.
You're very welcome.
We're going to wrap up here, I think.
Okay, I'll let you wrap up. Nice to see everybody.
Nice
Bye.
to see you, too. Well, what have we wrought? I don't know. Kind of like we had said, she's kind of in a coasting pattern at the moment. She did have a few very hyper-looking days. I will stop at hyper and not make accusations, but you know damn well what I'm thinking. And then some other days that were more chill, and then she was more volatile with the stuff going on with French Fry Girl and, you know, reframing her relationship with Dom again into something else again. Plans to make another channel on another platform. I don't know. The thing I was wrong about last week was the collaboration. I didn't think that was going to happen, and it happened. It was not the grand thing when it did happen. I thought it might be. So, I don't know. We'll see. She doesn't really make plans because there's no point. So I don't know what she has necessarily coming up for the week. I expect, if it's like last week, more being high, more fighting, probably specifically with French Fry Girl, though it could be Charlie Gold. Things change. She did her unique little challenge. I doubt any of these women are going to get up and smack their stomach to camera. I don't think they're going to do that. And not because they won't meet her challenge. It's because they have a level of, we'll say,
Dignity and respect.
Dignity was right on the tip of my tongue. I was holding my breath. I thought maybe you'd say it. Dignity, you know, pride, a healthy level of pride, that they wouldn't do that. Just saying. I'm not saying nothing nasty never came out of those folks' mouths. I'm just saying that they probably wouldn't half strip on camera while they were in the middle of a moment. So we'll see. We'll see next week. I don't know. Whatever comes up, comes up. We'll be here for it. I'm here for it. Mark, will you be here for it?
I'll be here.
Mark will be here for it, and hopefully you'll be here for it too. We'll see. So thank you all for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell on your way out so you get alerts when we have new videos and when we go live. You can follow us on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc or on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc. Our email address and our contact info is listed below as well. Thank you again, and we are going live tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Sunday. 6 p.m. Eastern. It's our usual Sunday chit-chat. Pretty chill. We have good mods. Open topic. Usually few people come up. Foodie Beauty usually comes up. So don't hesitate if you're free to stop by. Thanks for watching. Bye. Say bye, Mark.
Bye.